my lovely people. It's your host once again, and listen. This weekend didn't just give us results, it gave us plot twists. The kind that makes the league table start sweating, like it just heard VAR check in progress. So let's break down these games properly, the SmartSportStudio way. Fun, sharp, and with the what it really means sauce. Let's start with Fulham 2, Tottenham 1, because Spurs fans will tell you they played well, and then stare into the distance like a character in a sad movie. Fulham winning this one is not just 3 points, it's a statement about control, composure, and doing the simple things better for longer. This game screams one message. If you can't manage the boring moments, you don't deserve the big moments. Fulham did what good home sides do. They made the game uncomfortable. They didn't try to be fancy for Instagram. They didn't play highlight football. They played points football. When the game opened up, Fulham took advantage of the spaces, punished the loose defending, and basically told Spurs, you can have the ball, we'll take the goals. And that's the part Spurs will hate, because losing 2-1 isn't a demolition. It's a slow drip of pain. It's the kind of result that drags you into questions. Are you building something, or are you just surviving match days? Now, table-wise, this is where it gets spicy. Spurs dropping points in these kinds of fixtures is exactly how top 4 dreams become top 6 stress. Because the teams around you don't need you to collapse. They just need you to keep almost winning. Fulham, on the other hand, this is the kind of win that can kickstart a run. Confidence travels fast in the Premier League when you beat a big badge. Suddenly, every player believes they can outfight anyone, and that belief is dangerous. Now let's swing to Manchester United 2, Crystal Palace 1, and yes, we saw the red card situation, so this game had that the scriptwriters are enjoying themselves feeling. Winning 2-1 in a match with chaos is a personality test. It tells you if a team can stay calm when the game stops being normal. United's big win here is not only the scoreline, it's the ability to ride momentum shifts, because games like this don't stay stable. One moment you're comfortable, then a card changes the rhythm, then the crowd gets loud, then the match becomes about emotion more than tactics. And when emotion takes over, decision-making becomes everything. From Palace's side, the red card is the turning point that changes the whole conversation, because now it becomes, could we have gotten something from this? Or did we lose control of our discipline? When a team goes down a man, you either become heroic or you become stretched. You have to defend wider spaces. You have to run more. You have to choose when to press and when to sit, and one mistake becomes a goal. From United's side, the key question is, did they use the advantage like a grown team, or did they make it harder than it needed to be? Because top teams kill games when the opponent is compromised. They turn the match into a boring training session. Pass, move, drain energy, force the opponent to chase shadows. If United did that in the key phases, that's progress. If they turned it into basketball end-to-end football, then yes, they won. But they're still living dangerously. And this is where it affects the bigger picture. United taking 3 points here is massive for momentum and for confidence, especially if they're trying to build consistency week to week. But it also puts pressure on the next match because the Premier League is rude. It doesn't let you celebrate for long. It's like, congrats on your win, now prove it again in 5 days. Now let's talk about the headline game emotionally. Arsenal 2, Chelsea 1. And yes, Chelsea also had a red card in this one. So you already know the match had drama, panic, moments of control, and at least one section where fans were screaming at their TV like it owed them money. Arsenal winning this 2-1 is huge, not just because it's a derby-style matchup, but because these are the exact games that define title pushes and top 4 security. Big games do 2 things. They test your structure and they test your nerve. Arsenal surviving and winning tells you they handled pressure moments better, made better decisions in the key seconds, and got the details right when the game tried to turn messy. Now, the red card is the match's obvious turning point. But don't let it distract you from the bigger tactical story. Arsenal's identity is built around control and repeatable patterns. They want to press in organized waves, force turnovers, and then attack quickly with purpose. Chelsea, depending on their approach, often try to disrupt rhythm, attack space, and create chaos. When Chelsea go down to 10, that plan changes. Suddenly, Chelsea's transition threat drops because running with 10 men is like trying to fight with one shoe missing. You can still do it, but it's not cute. What was your plot twist of the weekend? Fulham's clinical win, United's momentum shift, or Arsenal's derby dominance? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Now, the red card is the match's obvious turning point, but don't let it distract you from the bigger tactical story. Arsenal's identity is built around control and repeatable patterns. They want to press in organized waves, force turnovers, and then attack quickly with purpose. Chelsea, depending on their approach, often try to disrupt rhythm, attack space, and create chaos. When Chelsea go down to 10, that plan changes. Suddenly, Chelsea's transition threat drops, because running with 10 men is like trying to fight with one shoe missing. You can still do it, but it's not cute. For Arsenal, the psychological challenge becomes, don't get impatient. When you're up a man, the worst thing you can do is start forcing passes, forcing shots, forcing moments. You have to make the opponent suffer by moving the ball, dragging them side to side, and waiting for the gaps to appear naturally. If Arsenal did that well, that's maturity. If they started rushing, that's the kind of thing that can haunt you in tighter matches later. For Chelsea, the loss stings. But the bigger issue is discipline and game management, because red cards don't just hurt one match. They hurt rotation, they hurt momentum, and they create extra noise around the team, and Chelsea do not need extra noise. Chelsea already live in a world where one bad half becomes a national emergency. Now, what does this do to the table? Let's keep it simple and real. Wins like this push Arsenal forward in the title race conversation and reinforce top 4 stability. Losses like this push Chelsea into the zone where every result feels like it decides their season, and that's where teams start playing tense. Tense teams make mistakes. Mistake teams drop points, and dropped points turn into regret videos by May. Now that's the weekend results, but the Premier League doesn't stop. It reloads. And the next fixtures you sent are where the league table can really start shaking like it's on a washing machine setting. Let's look ahead. Wolves versus Liverpool. This is one of those matches that looks straightforward until Wolves remember they're allowed to be annoying. Wolves at home can turn games into a fight. Liverpool's challenge is always the same. Break down a compact team without giving away cheap transitions. If Liverpool score first, they can control it. If Wolves score first, the match becomes a different sport. It becomes stress management. Prediction-wise, Liverpool have the edge in quality and depth, but Wolves can absolutely make this uncomfortable. I'm leaning Liverpool, but I'm not leaning comfortably. I'm leaning like someone standing on a bus. Aston Villa versus Chelsea. Now this one is interesting because Chelsea are coming off a match that included a red card, and that kind of emotional game can leave a hangover. Villa, depending on form, can be ruthless at home, especially if they smell uncertainty. The key battle will be midfield control and who wins second balls, because that decides whether Villa can pin Chelsea back or Chelsea can play through pressure. If Villa start fast and aggressive, Chelsea have to show composure. If Chelsea settle early and keep the ball, they can quiet the stadium. This feels like a tight one, but if Chelsea are still shaky, Villa can edge it. Brighton versus Arsenal. This is not a free 3 points match. Brighton are one of those teams that can make big sides look ordinary if you switch off for 10 minutes. Arsenal's key is discipline. Don't get dragged into Brighton's traps, don't overcommit, and make sure your defensive rest shape is strong so you don't get hit on transitions. If Arsenal win here, that's not just points. That's a title race signal. If they draw or lose, it's not disaster, but it's the kind of result that gives rivals hope. I'll say Arsenal have the edge, but Brighton at home is the kind of place where your confidence gets tested like a pop quiz. Fulham versus West Ham. This is a proper London battle. Fulham will come in confident after beating Spurs, and West Ham are the type of team that can be blunt force dangerous, especially if you allow set pieces and loose transitions. Fulham will want to control, West Ham will want to punish. This one feels like it could swing on one moment. A set piece, a mistake, a wonder strike. If Fulham keep their momentum, they can get something here. If West Ham turn it into a physical scrap, they can steal it. Manchester City versus Nottingham Forest. This is where City usually do City things. The key question is rotation and intensity. City can dominate matches even when they're not at their best, because their structure forces teams into defending for long periods. Forest's hope is to stay compact, survive the early wave, and pray for counterattacks and set pieces. But here's the reality. If City score early, Forest spend the rest of the match chasing shadows. I'm predicting a City win. The main mystery is the scoreline. Now let's head to Newcastle. Newcastle versus Manchester United. Now this is the heavyweight one. Newcastle at home brings intensity, directness, and pressure. United come in with momentum after beating Palace, but this match will test whether that momentum is real or just vibes. Newcastle will try to make it a fight, win duels, win second balls, and feed off the crowd. United have to be smart. Don't get dragged into chaos, don't give away silly fouls, and don't lose shape when the game gets loud. If United win this, it's a statement. If they lose, it doesn't erase progress, but it reminds them that the league's top environments are different. I think this one could be tight. A draw wouldn't shock me. A one-goal win either way wouldn't shock me either, but I'll lean slightly Newcastle at home, with the warning that United can absolutely flip it if they stay composed. Now let me wrap this up the SmartSportStudio way. This weekend wasn't just about goals, it was about leverage. Fulham gained belief, Spurs gained questions, United gained momentum, Palace gained regret, Arsenal gained a huge win, Chelsea gained a headache. And the next fixtures? That's where the table starts telling the truth. Because it's one thing to win once, it's another thing to stack wins when pressure builds. So I want you to drop your predictions in the comments right now. Which match is your guaranteed chaos pick? Wolves versus Liverpool, Newcastle versus United, Brighton versus Arsenal? And who do you think is most likely to surprise everyone this week? Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay locked into SmartSportStudio, where we don't just read results, we explain what they're about. I'm Simple, and I'll see you after the next round of Premier League drama.